In this video, I wanted to talk about Czech and Slavic folklore traditions around welcoming of spring and burning and drowning of the effigy of Morana. This is a custom that's not really widespread in my country, and it's done only in some regions or villages and often also in open-air village museums. That's why we visited one with my friend Moritz. The whole name of this outdoor museum is Polabské národopisné muzeum Přerov nad Labem. If you would like to visit it, I'll put a link for their website to the description box. It's not far from Prague, and every year they have exhibitions focused on customs connected with the welcoming of spring, which includes the burning and drowning of an effigy of Morana. So let's talk about it. Morana is a Slavic goddess of winter, death and rebirth. She's sometimes also called Lady Death or Lady Winter. In Czech folklore, Morana is often depicted as an old woman or hag who symbolizes the harshness of winter. It is believed that by burning and drowning an effigy of Morana, people are getting rid of the last traces of winter and making way for spring. The burning and drowning of the Morana effigy is done on the 4th Sunday of Lent. This day is called Smrtná neděle in my country, which could probably be translated as Deathly Sunday. The tradition is often accompanied by other springtime customs such as singing, dancing and the decorating of trees and houses with ribbons, greenery and flowers. These traditions are meant to welcome the arrival of spring and to celebrate the renewal of life after the long winter months. The exact form of the Morana effigy and the way it is disposed of can vary depending on the specific region and the local customs. The effigy is often made from straw and other materials. It's either burnt in a bonfire or there is a procession from the village to a nearby river or pond where the effigy is drowned. But from what I've seen, it's most commonly a mix of both in my country, so there's a procession to a nearby river or a pond where the effigy is ignited and then thrown into the water and drowned. Overall, the tradition of burning and drowning the effigy of Morana is an important part of the Slavic and Czech folklore and is a symbol of the transition from winter to spring and the renewal of life that comes with the changing of the seasons. There's also an Eastern Slavic tradition called Maslenitsa, which is very similar, and it's probable that both of these customs have their roots in a common Slavic tradition that dates back to pre-Christian times, and the customs around it just evolved differently over time in different Slavic countries and regions. Now, I didn't know about Maslenitsa until recently when I started doing research for this video, and I'm not sure if everything I found about it is correct, so take this with a grain of salt. And if there's someone from a country where Maslenitsa is celebrated, please feel free to correct me and share your knowledge in the comments. Maslenitsa, also known as Butter Week or Pancake Week, is a traditional festival that is celebrated in Russia, Ukraine and other Eastern Slavic countries during the last week before Lent. During Maslenitsa, people traditionally make and eat pancakes, which are a symbol of the sun and the arrival of spring. The festival is also marked by other customs and activities, such as sledding, snowball fights and the burning of a straw effigy of Lady Winter, similar to the tradition of burning the effigy of Morana. One key similarity between these traditions is their shared purpose of welcoming of the arrival of spring and the renewal of life. Both traditions mark the end of winter and the beginning of spring, and both feature rituals that help to usher in the new season. Another similarity between these customs is their roots in pagan traditions. Both Maslenitsa and the burning and drowning of the Morana effigy have their origins in pre-Christian Slavic beliefs and practices and were later adapted to fit Christian traditions and celebrations. While there are some differences between the specific customs and practices of Maslenitsa and the burning and the drowning of the effigy of Morana, they share a common theme of celebrating the arrival of spring and the renewal of life, and reflect the deep connections between traditional Slavic folklore and the changing of the seasons. One last interesting tidbit at the end. If you've read the Witcher books and especially Time of Contempt, you might remember that there are few references to a tradition where villagers burn a straw effigy of Falka and sing a particular song or nursery rhyme around the fire. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I hope that you find this short overview of our tradition featuring Morana and comparison to the Maslenitsa tradition interesting. Right now I'm working on a video about a Slavic creature called Jezinka, but I would like to do a video about Czech traditions around Easter after that. So let me know in the comments if that's something that would interest you and subscribe for more. See you in another video.